Forgotten technologies that could change tomorrow. Have you ever imagined that some of the most revolutionary technologies for our future might actually have been discarded or hidden away by civilizations from the past? If you think human progress is a straight line, get ready to question everything you've ever learned. In the next 60 seconds, dive into discoveries that will challenge your common sense, your logic, and even your faith in technological evolution. Picture scientists unearthing thousand-year-old artifacts that work as electric batteries, metal alloys so advanced that modern science still can't reproduce them, Roman goblets that change color with the light as if they were nanotechnology, and monuments built without any cement, yet so strong that even today's earthquakes can't take them down. This isn't science fiction, it's real evidence that raises dangerous questions. Now think about it. Who would be interested in keeping all this well hidden? Was it ancient elites? Religious influences? Or is it possible that, even today, governments and corporations prefer to bury certain discoveries to keep control over what we consume or know? Stick with us until the end of this video, because what we're about to reveal could be a turning point for you to see the past like never before, and to understand that innovation often existed and was silenced. So, if you're curious and never accept the first answer, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video to help us strengthen our community of truth seekers. And these are just the first clues. Ever heard of the Baghdad Battery? Researchers believe more than 2,000 years ago, ancient people were already conducting electrical experiments that wouldn't be rediscovered until much later. And the Lycurgus cup, that Roman glass goblet that magically changes color when exposed to light, is inspiring cutting-edge research in nanotechnology even today. The Incas, meanwhile, built their perfectly fitted walls, without mortar, to withstand earthquakes better than most modern buildings. The most shocking part? Many of these discoveries were dismissed, rejected, or simply ignored because they threatened the powerful, or simply because humanity is afraid of the unknown. Are you ready to help recover these ideas and push for truly revolutionary technology that's been buried for centuries? Or will we keep ignoring clues that could change the course of our society? Watch till the end. What comes next may be even more surprising than everything we've already revealed. Ancient disasters. Lessons for modern survival. Entire civilizations have vanished almost overnight, victims of natural disasters so terrifying they seem straight out of apocalyptic movies. Massive tsunamis wiped out whole cities, prolonged droughts turned fertile lands into invisible deserts, volcanoes buried empires under ash in mere hours. But the big question is, have we learned anything from these tragedies? Or are we doomed to repeat the same mistakes with the arrogance of thinking nature is under control? Take Pompeii, buried under tons of ash in just a few hours. Or the Maya civilization, which simply disappeared only a few generations after reaching high cultural and technological achievements. These stories aren't isolated events. They are vital warnings about how to handle our own planet, now threatened by extreme climate change, geological instabilities, and environmental crises. Those who can't see the signs today, drying rivers, dying forests, stronger storms, face a similar fate. Modern science confirms many of these disasters happened in cycles, and the same patterns are re-emerging now. But more than that, we know very little about the survival strategies used by the few who endured these calamities. Adaptability, resilience, and the willingness to accept deep changes may hold the key to our survival today. Ignoring these lessons from the past could cost future generations dearly. So stick with this video till the end, because we're not just uncovering how these tragedies happened, but especially the unknown strategies that could be crucial for our survival in the not-so-distant future. Hidden wisdom. What ancient philosophers got right. Do you think ancient philosophy was just a bunch of abstract ideas disconnected from real life? Think again. Behind those forgotten texts lie profound teachings that seem almost tailor-made for our chaotic times. Great thinkers like Plato, Confucius, and Aristotle didn't just explore ethics, they outlined surprisingly practical strategies for social harmony, justice, and especially how to handle crises and drastic change. The shock comes in realizing many of these teachings were silenced, distorted, or dismissed as mere academic curiosities, when they could offer answers to modern dilemmas like inequality, corruption, and sustainability. Imagine if our political and social decisions were guided by the principles of those ancient masters? Could today's instability actually have been avoided? In this topic, we'll explore how lost wisdom from antiquity directly impacts our understanding of ethics, power, and even our relationship with the environment. We'll also see how some concepts were reshaped over centuries, often to serve specific interests, and what that reveals about the manipulation of knowledge. Get ready to discover that philosophical past might just be the key to a fairer, more balanced future. We'll dig into concrete examples and demystify false interpretations that limit the use of these powerful teachings. Lost civilizations and their greatest mistakes. When we think of ancient civilizations, we usually picture grand empires filled with achievements and glory. But what history often hides are the catastrophic mistakes that led entire civilizations to extinction. Civilizations like the Maya, Easter Island, the Hittites, and many others were not destroyed solely by invasions or wars. Their own social, environmental, and economic choices contributed to their collapse. Imagine the devastating impact of overexploiting natural resources, collapsing agricultural systems, growing social inequalities, and failure to adapt to dramatic climate changes. These mistakes were fatal and carry priceless lessons. The arrogance of believing in their own invulnerability is a constant thread throughout centuries. In this topic, we'll dig deep and question the official narrative about civilization rise and fall. We'll analyze in detail the traps of social and environmental neglect ignored throughout history. Get ready to see how these mistakes dangerously echo in humanity's contemporary problems. You'll find that more than just conflicts, it was abandoning sustainability that sealed many fates. Understanding these past mistakes is crucial to help prevent our civilization from following the same steps toward disaster. Stay with us and draw your own conclusions. History isn't always what we're told. Why our ancestors feared collapse, and should we? Since the earliest times, records show that ancient peoples lived with a constant fear of total ruin, the end of harvests, water scarcity, devastating wars. This fear was not paranoia, it was wisdom acquired over generations, a vital survival instinct. Interestingly, despite all our technology, many experts believe humanity today is more vulnerable than ever to the same catastrophic threats our ancestors faced. What changed? Partly, the complexity of modern societies makes warning signs harder to interpret, and a sense of control can mask real dangers. While ancient civilizations adapted their lifestyles to impending collapse, today many prefer to ignore problems or postpone solutions in the illusion of infinite progress. In this topic, we'll reveal why this ancient fear was actually a powerful mechanism that promoted resilience and social cooperation. We'll also look at examples where the absence of this rational fear led to disastrous choices. Finally, we'll discuss whether our generation should regain this awareness, understanding that healthy fear might be the key to avoiding our own collapse. Join us as we analyze how past dread can transform into strength for a sustainable future. The power of myths in shaping human destiny. Myths are often brushed off as mere ancient stories or superstitions, but their hidden influence on shaping societies, cultures, and political systems is undeniable. Passed down through generations, these narratives not only explained the unexplainable but also encoded values, fears, and hopes that directed the course of entire civilizations. Consider the myths about creation, gods, or heroes. Beneath these tales lie blueprints for social order, ethical rules, and collective identity. But here's the controversial part. Many myths were deliberately crafted, changed, or twisted by powerful groups to maintain control and justify hierarchies. The stories we inherit aren't always neutral. They can be tools of manipulation and even oppression. In this topic, we'll look at how ancient myths continue to resonate in modern beliefs, national identities, and global politics, often in ways we barely notice. More importantly, understanding these mythic frameworks can give us insight into human behavior and societal dynamics, helping us see beyond the surface. Could harnessing the power of myth be essential not only to understand the past but to actively shape our future? Get ready for revelations that challenge conventional wisdom and reveal the ancient roots of human destiny. War and peace. Timeless strategies from history. Since the dawn of civilization, war and peace have been opposing forces shaping the destinies of peoples. But ancient records reveal much more than battles and treaties. They show strategies, mistakes, and lessons that still echo in today's conflicts. In antiquity, wars were not just physical battles. They were power plays, manipulation, and complex alliances between vulnerable nations and empires thirsty for domination. Studying these ancient strategies reveals surprising patterns. The importance of diplomacy, the use of disinformation, and the crucial need to understand one's enemy and the terrain. But fatal failures also stand out. Armies underestimating forces, fragile alliances collapsing, and legacies of destruction that slowed progress. In this topic, we'll examine these elements that span millennia and discuss whether our modern strategies have learned from the past or simply repeat old mistakes. It's an invitation to see war not as something distant or inevitable, but as a human phenomenon rich in lessons for building peace. Migration routes that built and divided societies. Since ancient times, humanity has been defined by movement. Migrations that created bridges between continents and cultures but also sparked deep conflicts and divisions. The routes traveled were essential for the flourishing of trade, knowledge, and cultural exchange, but also brought immense challenges such as clashes between peoples and competition for scarce resources. In this topic, we'll explore ancient migration routes that connected civilizations, bringing innovation and diversity but also suffering and loss. Understanding the dynamics of these movements is key to interpreting current dilemmas in increasingly global societies, where the issue of the other still sparks tension and debate. We'll look at how these flows of people shaped borders, consolidated empires, and paradoxically facilitated cultural isolation. After all, migration is a powerful force that can both unite and divide, and its lessons are increasingly urgent in the face of modern migration crises. Ancient adaptations. Surviving climate shifts. Ancient civilizations faced dramatic climate changes, periods of intense cold, prolonged droughts, and devastating storms that reshaped the world map. To survive, these peoples had to reinvent themselves, adopting innovative agricultural practices, altering lifestyles, and migrating to new areas. However, not all could adapt, and many vanished. What sets survivors apart from losers? Flexibility, ecological knowledge, and social cooperation. In this topic, we'll break down concrete examples of adaptation from the past and show how these lessons are vital for humanity today in the face of global environmental challenges. We'll challenge the idea that collapse is inevitable, showing that change can be an opportunity for rebuilding and transformation if we learn from those who went through it before. The mysterious rise and fall of empires. Empires rise powerful, dominate vast territories, and influence countless lives, but their fall is often sudden and enigmatic. What triggers these abrupt changes? Internal factors like corruption, moral decay, and poor administration combined with external pressures like invasions, economic crises, and natural disasters all play a part in this complex equation. In this final topic, we'll dissect the most emblematic cases of rise and decline, from the Roman Empire to the Ming Dynasty, ancient Egypt to the Aztec Empire. Combining archaeological evidence, ancient texts, and recent theories, we'll explore how a fragile balance of power and failure to adapt can bring down even the greatest empires. Are we repeating these same patterns today? The end of one era can be the start of another, but what have we learned from this millennia-old cycle? Get ready for an intense and provocative reflection that closes our journey through history with a critical question for our future. If you want to keep exploring the mysteries of human history and understand how these lessons can apply to the future, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and turn on notifications. Your support strengthens this community of truth seekers and helps us bring even more relevant content to you.